months ago, they put in a request. Actually, I think this might have been from the 2020. This request was made by the ACLU on documents about whether on the extent of this government program to or procedure to buy the cell phone location data for Americans across the country without a warrant. And the documents that they recovered uh, shed a little bit more light into the situation. So basically, there's these two companies. First of all, uh, a court case was decided years ago that said that it's illegal for the government, for the police, law enforcement to access a person's cell phone location without a warrant, um, because of the person's privacy and things like that. And the amount of information and how personal the information is about that person's life, the government or law enforcement can't just get access to those without a warrant. Same thing like if they wanted to search your home or your car or something like that, like they would have to show proof or that there's a reasonable suspicion with some amount of evidence that this person committed a crime and we need a warrant to search this person's thing. There was a court case that decided that about cell phone location data. And to get around that, the government, it's not even really a way around it. It's just they wanted to put a veneer of respectability while they brazenly violate or go against that court order saying that they need a warrant. So instead of just accessing it through like government records, they'll go or directly to the phone companies. They've bought the data from these two private companies, Ventel and Babel Street, and they're basically like they're called data brokers or whatever. They sell people's cell phone data or internet data uh, to advertisers and anybody who is willing to buy it, as the story uh, points out. And the amount of money that's being spent to purchase cell phone location data is in the millions of dollars, and also the amount of cell phones that this is being done to is basically everybody in the country. So I have more specifics. Let me quote the ACLU report. All right. So what the law enforcement can do with this information is they can access the person's or they can identify devices uh, at a area of interest or place of interest as it's described, and identify repeat visitors. So people who go to that location um, more than one time a week or a couple times a month or whatever, they can use this data that they're purchasing from Ventel and Babel Street uh, to not Babel Street. I don't know what I'm saying, from Babel, and for whatever investigations. And this is a question that I have that I'm going to bring up later. What are they using this data for? And apparently Ventel sent this is part of the official documents that the ACLU uh, recovered from the Department of Homeland Security. So from the government, there's no is this forged or is this made up? No, the government handed over these documents because they were ordered to by a court. Um, so Ventel sent a document to the Department of Homeland Security uh, explaining how the company collects. This is a direct quote from the ACLU report. Explaining how the company collects more than 15 billion location points from over 250 million cell phones and other mobile devices every day. Let me repeat the numbers: 15 billion location points from over 250 million cell phones and mobile devices every day. Every day. So this company has the location data of basically everybody in the country, and they are selling it to anybody. Um, and like I said, 15 billion location points from over 250 million phones every single day. That was what the Department of Homeland Security requested from uh, Ventel. So, and they're doing this every single day. You think that it was just those 3 days out of the entire year or the entire existence of Homeland Security in this practice? Oh, the one time that we have insight into what they're doing, they just so happens that they did 336,000 made 336,000 requests for location points from this private company. No, they do this every single day. So this gets to a point that I've been trying to make. But before I get to that, some people might be saying, "Hey, man, if you're not doing anything wrong, why does it matter? Why does it uh, uh, matter if the government is looking at your location? Who cares if you're going to Walmart? Who cares uh, uh, if you're they see that you went to the mechanic or you where you work, whatever it is?" Um, there are a couple of points I could, or a couple of things I could say to rebut that, but a point that's been made by Glenn Greenwald often, and somebody I respect on this issue very much, is these aren't just, first of all, you if you're so willing to hand over your privacy to the government, to Big Brother, just because they say so, that's a question you have to ask yourself. Why are you so willing to bend to law enforcement and authority so easily? But also, it's not just about your personal how you feel about the issue, because this is affecting every single person in the country, and you might be willing to have absolutely no privacy and let the government walk up in your home and search your drawers and search your fucking kitchen cabinets and go through your emails. You might be willing to do that, but not everybody else in the country, and I'm sure a lot of people in the country might not be. But also, a more important point is these rules and these protections that are in the Constitution. These are rules that the government isn't allowed to violate. They're supposed to respect your boundaries. So these are laws dictating what the government's allowed to do, and so you're just okay with them being able to do whatever they want, and that's the logical conclusion. If this something this massive and this important, they're willing to violate the limits that are placed on themselves with absolutely and they're unrepentant about it. What they're just going to keep doing it, and they do keep doing it in other aspects too. So and then the other point I want to make is why I've been really hard or critical of this police state that we have in this system of policing we have in this country is and I I'm trying to be more cover this topic more regularly, but it's very interconnected and the context matters because the Department of Homeland Security is the and by the way, if the DHS has access to this data, every other department and agency in the government has access to that data. There was a couple different stories that confirmed this that they basically just passing around, and this was about I believe it was communication data, so like emails and phone records and stuff like that. Um, like I think it was the DEA was getting access to those records and just giving it to the FBI and DHS and basically any other government agency that requested it. So once the Department of Homeland Security has it, all government agencies have it. And the question we have to ask is we see how fucked up law enforcement and the system of policing in this country is and how they're basically just like vicious, violent, lawless gangs, and they're the ones supposed to be enforcing the law. So these same people who, and it's the Department of Homeland Security, um, uh, uh, framing people. The Intercept broke several stories about how they come up with all these elaborate terror plots and all these things to frame young Muslim people and make it seem like they're extremists and things like that. So we're giving these law enforcement agencies that have already proven that they the protecting the community is not their top priority. They're there for their own agenda, and oftentimes, like I said, they're the biggest criminals and the biggest, most violent gang out there. So we keep at every turn we keep giving them more power over us, more control over us, and at no point anybody questions this and says what's going on here. Because if you do, the only conclusion is we just live in this massive authoritarian police state where uh, 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 there is no like consistent set of laws. It's just if you are opposed, if you are on the opposite side of the government's agenda, what they want to do, they're going to lock you up and put you in prison. That's basically what it is. And stories like this, where they just uh, spying on Americans and collecting massive amounts of data for what? I would love to know exactly what crimes they or what cases they're using this on because this is something that clearly they have no intention of making public. What exact cases are they using this on? So this is a kind of new story. There's not a lot of updates on it, but I will bring you some as they come in. Give me 1 second.